everyone, and welcome to Valley Crafty Corner. Today I'm doing a 12 by 12 layout using the Studio Calico Kit for November, and it's called Sock Hop. And I have 3 portrait style 4 by 6 photos. So I started out with a gray cardstock base that came in the kit, and then here I am just putting the 3 4 by 6 photos straight across the page. And I have to apologize if I seem a little rushed doing this video, doing the voiceover, because first of all, I've done this voiceover 6 times. This is my 6th attempt at doing this voiceover, and I have a very limited amount of time to do it in. I have some stuff going on this week, so I'm trying to get it out as quickly as possible. So anyway, back to the layout. You saw me cut 2 strips of that pink and white dot paper, and that is one of the Studio Calico exclusive pieces of paper, and it was called Pop, I believe. And I really liked that paper, so I didn't want to put the pictures on the piece of paper and then use a whole bunch of it just to frame the photos. So it was easier just to cut a couple 1-inch strips and then frame the photo that way. So here I'm just taking the strips and I'm just layering them underneath because I wanted them different widths on the top and on the bottom. So that is what I'm doing here. And then I've been inking up my pieces of paper with Black Soot Distress ink by Tim Holtz. It's been my thing to do lately, is the Black Soot ink to kind of ink everything up, and you'll notice that in a lot of my videos. That's an ongoing trend that I do. And you'll notice that the video the coloring changed a minute there. I noticed that the coloring was off quite a bit. It was just a little bit too bright, so I just reset everything to the default until I could have time to fix the brightness and the coloring of it. So it looks a little dark and dingy at this point. So I'm gonna work on that in the next few videos to see if I can correct that. So here what I'm doing is, this is kind of one of the process things that I do for my videos, or for my scrapbooking, is when it comes with a whole bunch of die cut pieces, I flip through them relatively quickly, and whatever kind of grabs my eye, and it might not necessarily be words that I'm looking for, it could be shapes or colors at this point. So that's a lot of what I do when I'm looking for embellishment, is just really flipping through and finding that, you know, texture or color or sayings or something to that effect as to what I'm looking for. So you'll see me kind of pulling out those printables from the Studio Calico November kit, and what I'm more or less looking for when I'm looking through the labels is looking for colors, just because they're all plain. And there is a couple there that, you know, have some cute sayings on them, so I pull them out, but I don't end up using them. I've just only used the labels at this point. So, and I apologize, my voice is still pretty crackly, and I'm a little rough around the edges, but I'm feeling much better than I did before. And I was not feeling pretty awesome when I did this layout, so it's not, you know, up to the standards as what I normally do, but it still turned out really pretty, and I like it. So here I'm just getting rid of the extra embellishments that I had out, and I just threw them back in that little tin that I had. And pretty much whatever you see on the desk here is not going to be used. Like, there's, you know, a few items that are going to be used here, but a lot of it is not. So then at this point I am starting to kind of get a feel for lettering, and I pulled out some embellishments that I thought would probably work. So I pulled out the glitter letter stickers, and I pulled out the navy cardstock stickers and the washi tape. And I didn't end up using any of the washi tape at all. Um, it wasn't what I was kind of looking for, so I didn't end up using it. You'll see me a couple times here grab the different kinds of washi tape to, see if I can make it work, and it just didn't go. But I gave a pretty good effort at it. And the one thing about this washi tape and is that it is really, really sticky. It's stickier than normal washi tape. So you'll see in a little while here, I'll stick it down and try to use it. But when I pulled it up, it rips the paper. I ended up covering it up with the letter sticker, so it wasn't too big of a deal. But that's just food for thought when you go to use that washi tape. It is, you'll have to be pretty committed when you go to put it down. So that's just a note for you. And when I did this setup here, how I have that embellishment in that bottom left corner, that is actually how I wanted it to go. But because I wasn't feeling really good when I walked away for a little minute here, I came back and I couldn't remember what I had done. So I kind of wish I would have had the layout like that, because I really liked how that looked. But hindsight's 2020, and I like the layout, how it turned out, even if even the way I didn't use that little cluster in the bottom there. And see, there's where I kind of pulled it up and ripped that paper up a little bit. So here I'm going to commit to laying this cluster down. I really like that heart that came in the die cut pieces from the Fifth and Frolic collection, and I just inked it up with black soot ink and laid it down. And here's where I realized my mistake of I couldn't remember how I had that flower in that little cluster, so I didn't end up using it. So that'll come off in a minute. And here I take that little true story stamp that comes in the set, and I ink it up with black soot, or this is archival jet black ink from Ranger. And the reason why I chose the archival ink versus the dye ink is I wanted it to be crisp and clean. I didn't want to take any chances with it to kind of be bubbly, or because the distress ink is really watery, I wanted to make sure I had a good clean stamp image. So that's why I used the archival ink. So here I'm taking that same paper, but the back side is that yellow paper, and I wanted something yellow to balance off that yellow flower that's in the top right corner. So I just punched some circles from the Martha Stewart circle punch, and it's not a circle, it's kind of got pinked rounded edges. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, and it's a really, really old punch that I have, which you can tell because Martha Stewart punches are now white, not green. So it is a little bit older, but it suited its purpose. I wanted something to be not perfectly round, because that I wanted to emulate that flower, but I wanted something small enough so that it wasn't too round or too flowery or too soft. So that punch seemed to work out pretty well. So here I took one of those labels from the printables and put it in that top right corner, and I'm laying that yellow flower down. And you'll notice a lot of my stuff is hanging over the edge, and I didn't actually end up cutting I cut the sides off after the video was over and done with, so you'll have to forgive me. I did not put that in there, and I thought about it after the fact. So I apologize for that, but I did just trim off the sides of the flower and the sides of the embellishments on the other side just to square up the pages. So here I'm trying to find a heart that'll work on the other side, and I tried punching the pink paper and putting it down by the flower, but it was one, too small, and two, not the right color because it blended in too much with that background paper. And I tried doing the same with the blue, but it wasn't working. So I was trying to figure out what to do. So what I did was I took that heart from the die cut pieces and I traced it out on the background of that Fifth and Frolic paper, and the other side is that really large chevron print, the multicolored one. So if you go back to my haul video, you'll see that it's that particular paper. So here I'm just cutting it out and just tracing what I had there. So, but just a side note on those pictures, and I know it kind of looks a little odd from those pictures, but the story behind these pictures is my sister and brother-in-law, they got married on a remote location, and with all the planning they kind of forgot about certain things, when you don't think about it, it's not at the church or something like that. They got married by some waterfalls, so they actually forgot about bringing a table to site for signing their marriage certificate. So my uncle ended up being the table for them to sign their marriage certificate, which was pretty awesome of them. So that was really nice. So back to the layout here. I took that heart and it wasn't the right size. It was a little too big for it needed to be a little bit smaller. So what I did is I took that heart and I just kept trimming it away until it was the right size that I had wanted. And then I just inked it up with some black soot ink to just kind of match everything that was going on. And here I'm pulling out those portfolio stickers from Pink Paisley, and I opened up the navy ones, but I knew the navy ones were going to be just too dark, and I wanted to keep it really light and soft looking. So I ended up using these little glitter stickers to spell out my title, which is going to say Table Issues. The only thing though is I used all the S's out of these particular stickers, so I'm going to have to be extremely careful with the titles that I'm going to make further on with this kit, just because S's are very common consonant to use, so I'll just have to be extremely careful in my title picking. So I just used that wax paper, thanks to Mercy Tierra for that little tip there, to kind of spell out my title and to see where I want to put it. So I decided I was going to put it up against that heart and then just kind of go along the bottom of the page of this layout to spell it out. And I knew it was needing something else at the bottom of the page to kind of draw your attention to that title, which I'll come to that in a minute here. And again, I keep pulling that washi tape out to see if I can use it anywhere, and it just doesn't work. So I go to the stamp set, and there's a stamp there that kind of looks like a chevron. So I wanted to use the black ink and stamp it 3 times beside the title to draw your attention to the title. So you did that, and then I knew I wanted it to add it somewhere else. And I was thinking about putting it right there by that embellishment cluster, but it was exactly right across from the bottom, and I just thought it would look a little off. So what I did is I stamped it in the top left corner to kind of balance the stamping out, and they're pointed in towards each other, so it draws your attention to the middle of the page. So that's kind of a good way to, you know, draw your focus into the pictures. And I knew that heart in the top left corner there was lacking a little bit of something to draw your attention to it. I tried using those words, like those little word stamps from that one set, and it wouldn't work. The words were just too tall, so I ended up using that little floral border set kind of piece and just stamping it right across the heart. So that gave it a nice little embellished look to it. And I'm off the camera a little bit here, and I apologize, but I'll push it up. There we go. So I just wanted to add another feather in to the bottom piece there. So you'll see me glue that down towards the end. And I think what I'm doing here is my journaling. Yeah, so I'm going to fast forward this part because I don't really like for you guys to see me journal because it takes me forever to figure out what I want to say. So again, I pull out the washi tape to see, you know, if that's what I want to do, and it's not. So I pull out the enamel dots just to add a little bit of interest to each of those little clusters. So that's what I'm doing here. And this is where I always take an extra look to see if there's anything else that I want to add. And I keep going back to that washi tape. I think I was bound and determined to use it. But, pardon me. So here I am gluing down that last feather. And after I do that, we'll get into some close-ups of the embellishments. So this is where I look at it and decide whether I'm done or not. And I knew I was done at this point. So that's a look at the clusters and the stamping. And as you can see, like, it doesn't need a lot of embellishment. But thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.